Ayman Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be joined by Liam Smith. Liam, we're a few days away from your return to the ring. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. Excited. Everything I should feel on a fight week, especially one of this magnitude.
Mentality a bit different because it's sort of like closing the door on the Eubank Junior defeat, and then it gives you the opportunity to talk about that third fight that you want so dearly.
Yeah, 100%. Opportunity to prove to the people who slagged me after the rematch. And like I say, look, rightly so. But for me, to show them it was a one-off. There was reasons and issues behind it, and I'm not finished just yet. So I'm excited for Saturday.
You can tell just looking at you, you're very much near the weight or on shape for fight night. But that was an issue coming into the fight the first time round with Eubank Jr. Have you been meticulous in the camp to second time round? Have you been meticulous in the camp this time around to make sure that's not an issue and you're at the prime condition for this fight?
Yeah, look, it's one of them. When I say I blamed the weight last time, the whole reason with the Eubank fight was I didn't get injured in the fight. I was injured, which is why we postponed the first scheduled rematch. And then basically, I was rushed into the second one. Hypothetically, I had too much weight to lose in a short space of time, and I thought to myself, if I make weight, I'll knock him out again. It didn't happen. I paid the price for it. And I'm never, I'm not tight at middleweight. I'm not long from a 154. You know what I mean? It was obviously, I went super heavy, which, you can say I shouldn't have done. Yeah, I shouldn't have done, but I was injured. I had a back injury, which I couldn't run, I couldn't move with. So it was one of them things. I learned the lesson. I paid the price, and it's down to me to right them wrongs. It's Saturday night to get to do that.
I saw you in that first face-off you did yesterday. You were saying some words to Aaron. What were you saying to him?
Yeah, I was just like, come on, Aaron. We've got another 3 head-to-heads. You're glaring at me as if we're going to go head-to-head and start butting. I think he showed his youthfulness, his naiveness, and maybe a little bit of his nerves.
Do you feel that is it not disrespect, but don't come with that energy because of your experience? You shouldn't be doing that to someone who's been where you've been.
Not really, don't. If you want to do it. But mate, come on. Take it out the, take me and you fighting out the situation. You know me now, Aaron. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna intimidate me by snarling a little bit more than head to head. You're not gonna make me shit myself and look away. So come on, we've got another 3 head to head. We've got another one tomorrow at the press conference. We've got one at the weigh-in. I understand if it was at the weigh-in when you're a little bit grumpy and you've made weight and your fight time, but it was the grand rivals, and it was come on. You know what I mean? But if that's the way he needs to be, so be it. But he's not going to intimidate me with it head to head.
I don't know how much you've watched or followed or looked into Aaron McKenna's career either beforehand or since this fight came about, but have you seen for a prospect turning into a contender who wants to take the step up to fight yourself, him be in adversity and come through that yet? Have you seen that from him in his previous fights?
No, because I don't think he's had to yet. I don't think he's, he's struggled, and, he struggled really against the 154 Lima. All being said, the southpaw, but, a bit of a smaller man. He hasn't really had to show adversity yet. I guarantee you he will do the weekend, but it's, I do see, a game enthusiastic contender wanting to step up. He's shouted names out for a while. I don't think he shouted my name out personally, but I know he's shouted step ups and middleweights and stuff like that. So, Saturday he gets that chance, but he's young enough to come again.
I want to give big respect to Aaron McKenna for that fight with Lima. However, coming out of that fight and being brutal about it, he was very much bruised. You could see the effects of the fight through it. Do you look at that and think this is a fighter I can cause that damage to and cause that stoppage?
I could cause that anyway, even if he's never had that in his whole career. I'm the best fighter on his record, and that's not being big-headed. But no, there's a fight with a similar type kid, red Mexican kid who he kind of struggled with. And there's enough fights we've seen. I just have to be me. I don't care if he has a struggle with anyone. If the best Liam Smith turns up, I walk through Aaron McKenna.
And if he turns up, how does the fight end?
Yeah, the best Liam Smith, I break Aaron McKenna down and stop him, mid to late.
You get the opportunity to grab the mic after the fight and you can say whatever you want. What is it you're saying?
I'll say it at the end. I'll say it after the fight.
So you've got it planned?
Yeah, I've had thoughts of what I'm going to say. When I win, I've got a thought to do. I've had a million thoughts, mate. I've had a million thoughts through my head. Who's getting it? Who's getting slagged, who ripped me off, who slaughtered me after the Eubank fight. All them things have gone through me head, but like I said, first and foremost, I need to win Saturday first.
Can I get a sneak peek? Does the name Eubank Jr. Is that in there?
Of course, that was in there regardless, you know. I wanted a trilogy with him, I never got it. That'll always be there till I retire.
I want to get your take on the big hot topic that was Eubank Sr. saying his place isn't going to be at the corner or ringside for the fight. What's your take on that?
Yeah, if he's not there, you know, so be it. I thought it was crazy, and it was like, I didn't like where, you know, we kept calling Chris a disgrace for the egg situation and stuff like that, or just son, you know, you're doing an interview to millions of people, you're a huge name, so millions are going to watch it, and you're calling your son a disgrace. I thought it was a little bit, hold your tongue a little bit, you know, just son, but people are different, and that's the way the relationship's gone then, unfortunate, but yeah, I didn't like that off the senior.
You're a family man, and we all know about the Smith family. What strength do you draw from having your brothers around you and family around you when you're heading into a fight?
Yeah, you know, I want them on my side. I don't want them doing interviews calling me a disgrace. You know, they could have called me a disgrace for taking the Eubank rematch in the shape I was in, but they never. They got behind me and they backed me, and you know, they backed me into the decision. And as bad as I was, my family still said, Liam, you done unbelievable to get in the shape you actually got in and made weight. You basically, you know, that's family for you, and you know, yeah, my family certainly wouldn't be calling me a disgrace.
How much of this fight is won and lost on the scales, Eubank and Benn?
I don't know. I do think Chris is getting a little bit tighter at 160, like, so that's why I bring Conor into the fight a lot more than I did. But yeah, I don't know. It depends how Chris does the weight. You don't know, can't you? He's got a lot of weight to shift and what have you, but don't know.
So what are you hearing at the moment?
Only around the circle now, yeah, but it could be just gameplay, it could be anything, yeah.
Eubank said in the interview yesterday that the weight cut actually happens Thursday into Friday. So what does that mean as a fighter? Is it the potential that a crash in the weight is?
No, that's everybody's weight cut. You know, everybody's weight cut. So every fighter does a weight cut on the Thursday. You know, you do your diet throughout camp. But there's when they say weight cut, you know, it's when you stop fluids and mess with fluids and stuff like that. That's what cut means, you know. And they cut the food, they cut the water, and cut the water down to whatever minimal things they can take, and they're on and off the scales for the full day. And yeah, that's what they mean. I understand what Chris means. He'll do his long session Thursday and Friday morning.
Selfishly, you want Eubank to win though, right?
Yeah, but I'm not fully asked, to be honest with you. If Conor wins, I'm not going to be gutted for Chris. I'm not going to be gutted that my trilogy's out the window. Like I said, I think they've got a rematch clause anyway, so unless it's a one-sided beatdown, I'm probably not going to get the rematch straight away anyway, so I have to just, you know, do my own job and my own career path will open out.
Remind me, have you signed with Matchroom again, is that right?
Yes.
So does that mean that if Conor Benn wins, it's easier for you to make the fight with yourself?
Look, whoever wins, and if the rematch is not, I'm a dancing partner for both, and that's all. You know, you've been around boxing a long time, that's all Riyadh season are bothered about, that's all Turki El-Ashik's bothered about. Good fights and dancing partners. He's not going to let me get in the ring and run around the ring for 12 rounds and then want to use me again. It's just interesting, good fights and dancing partners, and I feel like I win. There's a number of middleweights who I can fight, you know. Carlos Adames, Hans does not actually taking that rematch. Yeah, there's a number of fights I can have at middleweight.
Can I get your thoughts on Canelo versus Skull?
Yeah, I think Canelo wins. I think Skull's talented, but I just think Canelo wins it, yeah.
And just your final prediction on Eubank Jr. versus Benn?
Eubank points.
Liam, wish you all the best. Thank you so much for giving me.